What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Josh's Review Corner. It's that end of year time, which means only one thing, and that is that list week is upon us. I'm going to start this list week off by mentioning my top 10 songs in Christian hip hop this year, and then I'm going to make my way down to the albums list. Along the way, we'll talk about the EPs, so the next video you'll see will be my top 5 EPs in CHH this year. But for today, like I had mentioned earlier, we are going to be talking about my top 10 songs in Christian hip hop this year. This list was the toughest list out of all the ones I made to actually make, because I'm not just including songs that dropped as singles, I'm including every song that dropped in Christian hip hop this year. In order to make this list, I had to make a short list, and then from that short list, I cut it down, and then from the cut down short list, I picked my 10. Before I get into my 10, I want to give some honorable mentions that made that shorter list, if you will. One of the songs I want to give a shout out to is New Things by Isaac Mansfield, specifically the remix with Aaron Cole. Love that song so much. Love the beat. Love that album From the Dust, by the way. Really great song. Want to give a shout out to Berserk by Tuvi. Tea Time is a wonderful project, and this song is one of my favorite songs from the project, if not my favorite song from the project. Really good song. Go check it out if you haven't. Also want to give a big shout out to De La Cruz with Faith in Me, or Faith on Me. Faith on Me. One of the most catchy hooks. Really took the CHH by storm this year with this jerk sound. Just a great song. Really catchy. Want to give a humongous shout out to C4 Cortona with the song Through the Tears, one of the best storytelling tracks this year. It is purely storytelling, and it speaks of the tragic story of how Mr. Cortona lost his mother in a very horrific way, if you will, and the emotions he felt around that whole experience. Really great track, all my honorable mentions. And then I want to give another shout out to Naladeus, Iron Sharpens Iron, featuring Braille. This song, weirdly enough, gives me big Blue vibes with the album Miles. Also, I just love the beat. The beat is so great. Braille's feature is insane. Really good song. But those are all my honorable mentions that I want to point out. And without further ado, let's get into my top 10. To kick the list off, I'm going to be starting at number 10 with the song Uninspired by Young Drew. This song kicked off Young Drew's run this year. Young Drew has been very consistent this year, whether it be with the multiple albums that he dropped or it just be with the host of songs that he's been giving us each week. One of the more consistent people in the space, and this song Uninspired was the start of it all. When the moment I heard this song, I knew it was one of my favorites from the year. Whether it be the sound of it, the sound almost is very with those strings, kind of gives you that acid rap by Chance the Rapper vibe a little bit. But Young Drew takes a very different approach to it. He talks about not having inspiration and some of the imposter syndrome and everything that he experiences, and how he doesn't feel like making music. And so I just love the topic, the subject matter. It's very vulnerable, but the way he raps on it, the instrumental, all of it just goes so well together. And it's number 10 on my top 10 songs of the year. Another track that's checking in for me at number 9 would be the song Vision 2025 by Marty. This song probably went underneath your radar. You're probably looking for this song right now as we speak on streaming platforms and you can't find it. Well, there's a good reason why you can't find it. This song has not dropped on Spotify yet. Marty released this on Even under the Hollywood Hills EP with Wes Pinder. I forget the gentleman's name, but it's Wes P. I'm going to say that is his initial, Wes P. And Marty dropped this as an EP on Even, and it's the intro track for it. And when it comes to boom bap, this is as peak as it gets. It's heavily simulaic rap, lots of bars, wonderful instrumental. It's really the instrumental for me. The instrumental is amazing, especially when you get to this part where he's like, open up the heavens gates, but today is a new day. When he gets into that part of the song, I don't know why, it's just so peak. The sample is hitting. The drums are really low key, and I love that. And then Marty's just swagging out on this track. He's just giving his typical charisma, and it works so well with Wes. And you might be seeing this EP on one of my lists later on. Hint, hint. But Vision 2025 checks in for number 9 for me on my top songs of the year. At number 8, I want to give a humongous shout out to another man who's been going consistent. You'll notice the theme. All these guys have been really consistent. Marty's been consistent this year. Young Drew has been consistent this year. But Mr. Gavin the Hotrod with Florida Boy checking in at number 8 has also been very consistent this year. He's had a little bit of a run, whether it be the Apollo Records Posse album that dropped or the collab album with 350 and DJ Mykael V. He really hasn't been missing. But I think something that went under the radar and that got missed because of all the greatness that happened and also the Sway appearance, right? Was there was this Punch edition of Back Row Hero that dropped, an EP earlier in the year. And on this, the very first actual song on the project is called Florida Boy. And when it comes to, if you know me personally, I'm a humongous fan of jazz rap. Jazz rap is probably my favorite genre. It'll always be my favorite genre. I love the instrumentation of it, and I love just how people can do whatever they want to do on jazz rap. It's freestyle almost. But Florida Boy is a wonderful jazz rap song. These keys are great. The horns are great. Gavin the Hotrod, though, what he brings here in the way of subject matter is just so like crazy to me. It's really an analysis of society. It's an analysis of the craziness that he grew up in. He talks about the sunshine state, but I don't see the sun, and I haven't seen the sun in a while where I stay. I mean, there's so much there in the song, and it's so personal, and it's just a beautiful track. So Florida Boy by Gavin the Hotrod checking in at number 8. At number 7, I have the lead single for Still Lonely, Prodigal by Aklesso. This song is a banger. Just insane beat, insane high energy performance from Aklesso here. The music video is awesome for this. I love it when you see the Strait Jacket, but also just a really catchy hook here. I mean, I think this song, when you think of songs, you can't really ask too much more from this, and it's just an absolute banger. When I hear this joint in my car, it just blows out the subs every single time, and I love it. So Prodigal is checking in for me at number 7 by Aklesso. At number 6, I have Flowers by Jon Keith. Man, I have sat with this Grow Wings album for the better part of half the year now, and every time I go back to listen to it, it's a treat. And I feel like every time I go back to listen to it, I'm picking between a different song that's my favorite. One time it's Beautiful. One time it's Chasing. One time it's the Only One with Beam. But the song that I think has always stuck in my top 2 or top 3, and it's honestly become my favorite track, is the song Flowers. Flowers, to me, is the climax of the album, especially when you get into that section after the strings where all of that goes into that climactic part where he's like, all I wanted to do was walk the garden with you. Oh my gosh, I get chills every single time I hear that part, and to me, it's one of the most beautiful songs of the year. Checks in for me at number 6 on my top 10 songs. Now we're getting into the top 5. We're starting to make some serious inroads towards the top, and man, there are some heavy hitters in this top 5, in my opinion. At number 5, I have Opposites by Venissay. Speaking of people who have had a really consistent year, I can't think of a dude who was more consistent than Venissay. De La Cruz is the only one who really comes to my mind, but Venissay is probably the top dog for me. That dude feels like he was releasing a track every single week, and that's not necessarily a good or a bad thing. Obviously, it's all dependent on the quality, right? But he consistently, to me, was dropping greatness. But in the midst of those weekly releases, at the very beginning of the year, he dropped an album called Out of Control. And on this album, there's a song by Venissay, produced by 1K Chucho, called Opposites. And this song, to me, is like it's pure ear candy. When you think of like music and imperfect music, there's really no such thing as a perfect song. But if there was one to me that could ever get as close to perfection as possible, it's Opposites by Venissay. It's a trap instrumental, so there's nothing crazy going on here, but that sample and that vocal, specifically the vocal sample and melody, and then those bells that are also in the mix on the production are just so peak. Everything about that production for that song is great. And then it's really Venissay's performance on the hook. That hook is one of the catchiest hooks of the entire year. Lord, we're opposites. Don't know how you love me. You got too much tolerance. Like, I got lots of problems. I know it's preposterous. Dude, it's just like, it's like you can't imagine anybody else rapping on that song, doing that specific type of flow, doing that specific type of performance. It's just a glove, Venissay and Chh on this song. Opposites is my number 5 song of the year. Checking in at number 4 for me. This is off of one of my favorite albums of the year, somewhere along the way, and that would be Worry About It in Advance by 350. Oh my gosh. Speaking of an album where I feel like I've had a rotation of favorites, this project by 350 has had its fair share of rotations. But I think the song that stands out to me, and it's the one that checks in at me for number 4, is this song, Don't Worry About It in Advance. First off, beautiful instrumental. I love how the drums, whenever the song gets introduced, you don't really hear the drums that much. It's really just the sample playing and that vocal melody playing in the sample. It just is so beautiful. And then the drums come in and a bunch of the instrumentation starts coming in. And it's just insane. Add on top of that this subject matter that 350 is talking about with his grandma, and it's just so personal. It honestly almost makes me shed a tear every single time I listen to that part of the song. Makes me reflect on my family and how much I love my family and how I need to really hug my family close and just cherish the time I have with them. And then, you know, if 350 just had his part on the song, this song would already be amazing, right? Well, guess what he had to do? He had to go add a Tory Deshawn feature. And you have a beat switch that gets to the Tory Deshawn feature, and Tory just kills his feature. This beat switch is perfect. And then the beat switches again and goes into this very triumphant, heavy vocal sample that's just insane, right? And then like Tory hits this crazy flow, gasoline, like Vaseline, like he just hits that crazy flow and delivery, and it's just so dang good. And then the way it outros out, where his voice starts getting deeper. I mean, this song is perfect. I love this song, Worry About It in Advance by 350, and it checks in for me at number 4. Now we're getting into my top 3 favorite songs of the year. If there's already been a bunch of heavy hitters mentioned, but these to me were the best 3 songs. So let's get started. Checking in at number 3. Drum roll, please. That would be Amigos Cypher by Daz the Nomad featuring Kid Prince and BTB Josiah. This song is probably one of those songs you have not heard of. These people that you've heard on this song, you probably haven't even heard of them. But if you hadn't heard about them up until this point, or you haven't heard a song by them at all, this is the song to check out. I'm a huge sucker for production. If the production's good, I'm probably going to like the track, just off rip. Obviously, the lyrical content has to be there, but if the production's there, I'm going to be a sucker. And when I tell you that this beat is probably my favorite boom bap instrumental / experimental instrumental in CHH this year, I'm not even joking you. It is. I believe it was produced by Selah the Prophet. Correct me if I'm wrong there. Daz, maybe if you're listening to this, please correct me if I'm wrong. But I don't know how he came up with the idea for this beat. This beat is just stupid. It's one of the stupidest beats I ever heard. It almost gives me, like, if you've heard Numbers on the Boards by Pusha T, it gives me those types of vibes. it's one of those weirdly off-putting, experimental, dark, moody things. And Daz the Nomad, with the bars he comes in with, the energy he comes in with, oh my gosh, it's crack. Like when he has that part where he's like, "Say la, let me get the feet. Luke, when I kick it, flawless victory." I mean, it's just insane, that part, right? And then you get this insane Kid Prince feature where he comes in, he's like, "I stole the porridge." Like that whole bar part, it's insane. The bars are insane. And then BTB Josiah adds the cherry on top with a crazy, ridiculous bar heavy performance. And just everybody killed it on this one. The Amigos Cypher, all the Amigos did their thing. And really, it's the beat. Like, you will not maybe hear a better experimental beat in CHH this year than that one. So Amigos Cypher for me checks in at number 3. At number 2, I have the song Free From Sin by A3. Wow. You want to talk about beats, crazy instrumentals? From a trap perspective, this is as good as it gets, but it's not even just a trap beat. It starts out as like almost like a house beat and then transitions into that crazy trappiness. But really, this song is just so dynamic with the way it starts out, with the way it transitions into that clever hook part. Free from the sin, yeah, free from the dirt, chains on my neck. Yeah, I mean, it's just insane, right? And then A3's energy is perfect for this. DJ Mykael V adds a nice bit of narration here, and it doesn't take away from the track. It really adds to it. It just goes hard. Add on to the fact of where this lands in the album. I just love this track all the way through. I mean, this is one of the most insane songs you'll probably hear this is actually probably one of the most insane songs I've heard over the past 3 years. And for me, it's just rightfully so checking in my top 3 at number 2. Free From Sin by A3. Wonderful track. Please check it out if you haven't already heard it. And that gets us to my number 1 track of the year. When I heard this track, guys, I'm going to be honest with you. When I heard this track, I kind of knew it was going to be number 1 from the moment I heard it, because I couldn't stop listening to it. I haven't been able to stop listening to it. I keep thinking about it, and I'm just mind blown by this track every single time I hear it. It's always a pleasure to listen to. I'm talking about To the Dust by Blaine Taylor featuring yungxsauce. Okay, first off, when it comes to Blaine Taylor, all that I've really known about him is that he's a really great songwriter. He makes more pop / folk / indie / just like rock stuff, and he produces in the rap world, but he doesn't really, rap like that, and he doesn't really approach that bag. Let this song put all those misconceptions to bed. This man and the way he comes in on it could not be any grimier than it is. I mean, one of the grimiest deliveries, grimiest mixes I ever heard on a song with his delivery. Add on to the fact that crazy Silsbee, Texas, man who's talking about Silsbee, Texas, and then this insane instrumental, right? Like the way this beat comes on, it's illegal. You shouldn't even be allowed to hear something like that. It's just so stupid. And then Blaine, like I said, just gives you this out-of-pocket performance, something you would never think he would do. And he just does it so well, and it works amazingly, right? And that song would have been good if it ended there. But then the beat cuts out, and it's like ominous. It's dark, and you're like, what the heck is coming next? I hear this click and I hear this white noise almost, but what the heck is happening? And then the beat transitions and you get this insane industrial experimental trap beat that comes in. And to me, this beat switch is the best beat switch of the year. It's, in my opinion, the best beat switch I've ever heard in CHH. It might be one of the best. It might be one of my top 5 personal favorite beat switches on any song ever. Add on to the fact of like what makes this beat switch so great. In comes yungxsauce. Hola, it's that kid from the no side. Stay low key, but dude, can anybody come in any harder than yungxsauce came in on that track? I don't think it's possible. I really don't. Like the way he comes in and the beat cuts out there for a brief second, it's just so perfect. I mean, this song is insane, guys. And you know what disappoints me is I go back and like look at the Spotify monthly listeners for this song, and it only has like 2,500 month, I think, total listeners for this song. How is that even possible? Like, I want more people to enjoy this song the way I enjoy this song, and I just don't think people know about it. So if you haven't heard about it up until this point, please go listen to it. This song is my #1 song of the year easily. Man, but I just want to give a big shout out to everybody that was on my honorable mentions, everybody that was on my list. If you're not on my list, trust me, I have the humongous list of songs I had to pick from, and I had to pick between 80 songs, cut that down into 15, and then pick between 10. It's a tough thing, but I think I've ended up with 10 songs I feel comfortable with. Let me know down in the comments, guys, what you think about the list. Do you agree with the list? Is there any songs that you have in your top 10 that I don't know about or that you think were great and would like to recommend? Well, hey, put them down in the comments. Would love to hear your thoughts. Guys, next video will be the top 5 EPs of 2025 in CHH, and I look forward to the rest of the week. Love you all. You have a blessed week. See you in the next one. Peace.